Let's go ahead and get started with introductions. Thank you, everybody. First, thank you so much for being able to meet. I really appreciate this. And I'm not sure how many meetings we'll have where everybody can be here, but I was hoping to start off with a pretty good number of us. I will go first. My name is Ann Forrest. I've been in the community. I've lived here since 2014. And Sam too. Good. Lived here since 2014. I was the president for a while and then stepped away, and Ben became the president, and now I'm back because Ben has moved on. So anybody else want to go next, or I can call on you? I'll call on you. Brad, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Brad. I've lived here since '99. I actually live on the other side of the creek, but east of 15th, and currently acting as currently the treasurer. I've been the treasurer for 8 years. My involvement at Victory Heights goes back, again, 22 years. Been in, also representing us right now on the Lake City Neighborhood Alliance. I was on the stakeholder group for the development at Thornton Creek. Anyway, I appreciate all the people that have become more interested in what's going on in Victory Heights. That's fantastic. So really appreciate your time this evening.
Thanks, Brad. Ryan, can you go next?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ryan Johnson. I'm the secretary and I run the Victory Heights blog, and I live down 20th. We've been here since 2009. Already had 2 house remodels.
All right. Josh, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Josh. Relatively recent, moved in 2020. And yeah, I've helped out on a couple different things more recently. Probably one of the things more visible is the website that complements Ryan's blog to use as sort of a resource center for finding more durable information, things like that. So yeah.
Very, very helpful. Thank you, Josh.
All right, can we get Amber? Would you go, please?
I've been here since 2015, and this is my first run with the community council. Ann and I have worked together on the teen feed that's been going now for
Year and a half, 18 months. I counted it up today.
Okay. All right. I was going to say for probably almost all of COVID, so pretty close. And then we also work together on getting the vaccines to the people who were unable to drive for whatever reason early on in the pandemic, when initially it was only available to those over 65. So we kind of put together a community response to help get those people access. So excited to expand my help with the community work.
Excellent. Carol, can you go next?
Unmute myself. Hi, everyone. I've been a resident since 2015 in Victory Heights and have only recently joined the council. I've gotten my feet wet in little bitsy things around the neighborhood here and there, but I feel like could probably use a little more help in the community. So I have time. So I joined. I'm going to be the North Precinct Council contact. And that is proving to be very interesting and a really good resource for our community. So I hope to share all the updates that I get through the council. So.
Excellent. Thanks, Carol. John, can you go?
Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm John Zapata. Let me see, I've lived in Victory Heights for, since last Wednesday. But my husband and I bought the house here. Actually, I'm Ann's next door neighbor. We bought the house here in 2019. I've been living in LA for the last 20 years, but I was raised in Shoreline and went to college here and everything. So now I'm back. Just through talking with Ann and Andrew, learn more about just the neighborhood council and everything going on. So super excited to get involved and to help out in any way I can. So thanks for having me.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, John. Sam, can you go, please?
Hey, yeah, sorry, I'm no video at the moment. I'm just cooking up some stuff. So yeah, we've been in Victory Heights, my wife and I, since this is our 4th year, and same house. We were renting to start, and we were lucky enough to buy the house from our former landlord, who's a local guy who moved us up the road this summer. And as part of that, just taking a bit more pride in the neighborhood and wanting to get involved is why I joined and reached out, and have just a deep interest in conservation and environmental work. And so that's why I'm excited to be, I don't know, I forget what my exact title is or what the what the committee is, but yeah, hoping to be a liaison and do some good work for Victory Heights in that regard. Yeah, that's about it.
Good. Thanks, Sam. And then Tony, please. Oh, Tony, you're muted.
So I am. Okay, I'm Tony. I moved to Victory Heights with my spouse in December of 2002, and we've lived in the same house with a cat, not the same cat, but a cat since then. I'm particularly interested in, well, I've never been quite sure if we were in Victory Heights because Anne assured me that we are, but I live on Northeast 107th between 15th and Roosevelt. So it's kind of, so west of 15th, west of the main part of Victory Heights. So I felt like orphans sometimes because Maple Leaf does not consider us part of Maple Leaf. So I'm glad that Victory Heights does. I'm particularly interested in the older people in the neighborhood and with ways helping to network with the older adults in Victory Heights. And I work part-time as a social worker at a senior center. So I am particularly interested in the needs of and interests of older adults.
Excellent. I didn't know that, Tony. Thanks. I think that's everybody. So I'm gonna share my, oh, does somebody have something to say?
Oh, I don't think I introduced myself.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Dan or Daniel.
Oh,
but yeah,
sorry, I missed you.
been living in Victory Heights for almost 2 years now. And yeah, so moved here during the pandemic, but really just enjoy walking around the neighborhood with my dog and want to get more involved in the community. And I consider myself to be a pretty outgoing, social type person. So hoping to help out with, event planning and helping people to gather together in the community around the park and hopefully some other events.
Excellent. Thanks, Daniel. Sorry I missed you. And we have something really cool coming up, so I think you'll be excited. Let me share my screen. So here's the agenda. I like to keep things moving. We're going to do state of the council and then just talk about some projects that are in the works and then stuff coming up. So finances. This is where we sit. We have $3,000, a little over $3,000 in our checking account, and the savings account just has to have $5 to stay open. So financially, we're doing great. Our only ongoing reoccurring expenses are for the blog, $32 a year for the website and $10 for the domain. So really, we have next to no expenses. We kind of spend and earn as we go. Committees. So this is what you guys have all told me you were interested in. So I'm super interested in disaster prep. We don't have a vice president at the moment. Brad's the treasurer, Ryan's the secretary. Amber's interested in safety. Matthew or Jay, and I'm not sure, he uses both names. I'm not sure which one he prefers. He would like to be co-chair with Amber and do safety. Daniel, like he said, social committee. John is interested in beautification. Ben came up with that title. I didn't. I don't know what I would have called it, but and then I lost my cursor. Sam is interested in conservation. Carol is, like she said, our rep on the North Precinct Advisory Council. So the police department and the community get together every month. And currently it's virtual, of course. Anyway, so Carol will be our rep there. She can bring our issues to the front and then also bring information back to us. We could use a rep on the Northeast District Council. Again, it's a once a month meeting, and it is just a bunch of communities here in the Northeast side.
Which, and kind of.
Yeah, sure.
So that's different from the old North District Council? So is this like Wedgwood, Meadowbrook?
Yes, Ravenna,
Ravenna.
Sandpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it. I've been attending. I lived in Wedgwood for 10 years before I moved to Victory Heights, and I've been mostly attending the Wedgwood Community Council Zoom meetings because they're Zoom. So okay, I have some familiarity with that. So they've sort of attempted to keep that going. I see. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. They've got a really great speaker, and I'll let everybody know about it in a different format, but they've got a great speaker coming up. And then Josh. So Josh and I have talked a little bit. Oh, did I screw up your name, Carol? I'm sorry. I will change it. I'm screwing up everybody's name. And John's too, sorry. All right. So Josh, you and I talked about maybe an electronics or a technology kind of person job for you. Tony, interested to know that you're interested in the senior folks. And then Karen Williamson, I just texted her. She said she's having trouble with her computer, so I don't think we're going to see her tonight, but she is interested in being on that committee. So this is where we stand at the moment, doing pretty good. I want to turn this over to the safety committee. So that'll be Amber and Carol for this meeting to talk about the abandoned house that they're working on. And let me, so to get you oriented, this is North Gate and this is 15th. Up in the top left corner is the mosque, the Idris Mosque. So the house they're talking about is right there. I'm going to go to the next.
Excuse me.
What's that?
Is it across the street from the mosque?
Yes, it's across North Gate from the mosque.
Okay. Is it right on the corner?
Yes, right on the corner. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see the screen, Tony? Can you not see the screen?
No,
it's right on the screen. It's where the star is on the screen.
Right. Yes. Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So either Amber or Carol, whoever has the most information, just speak up. I'm going to go through that much. So go ahead.
Yeah, it might be me, Amber, unless you're welcome to jump in at any point if I misspeak. So it seems like to our surprise, or at least my surprise, there are quite a bit of resources to support the community with abandoned houses. What we found out, it started with a three-prong approach. We used the Find It, Fix It app. We made several reports there, and that was pretty useful. We also learned that calling 911 is actually surprisingly appropriate, especially if you see something that is immediately a danger. And they did say you could also call the actual 911 if there isn't, because that's the only way they're going to get someone there. But that's on the side. The Pinehurst community, Nancy Rohauser, and if I'm saying her name right, is that how you say her last name? Okay,
that's good.
She's a wealth of resources, and she's been the Pinehurst North Precinct Council. No, I'm going to get that wrong. North Precinct Advisory Council secretary for about 12 years. She helped us out with the house and pretty much the communications. We brought it up in the North Precinct meeting, and we had a lieutenant who actually responded to a report form that we filled out and submitted to the precinct. He went there directly, checked it out, noted it was already boarded up, and marked trespassed, no trespassing. There was no one there. They're going to keep an eye on it. Let me think, what else? He recommended we submit a report to the SDCI, if I've got my acronym correct. Someone here might know what that stands for.
Seattle Department of Construction and Inspections.
Very perfect. Thank you. So we submitted a report to them. We have a complaint number and we're just waiting to hear back. The main thing and the main takeaway that I got from that is if you see something and you have a report to make the report. They are more likely to get attention if there's reports on it. The very last thing that they would do is I'm going to say, call it a nuisance house, in which case they pretty much they've already contacted the owner in that case. This is not where we are with the house. This is just kind of all the remedies, kind of walking everyone through. They would have a log of reports, would say, okay, this is a nuisance house, and they could actually, the city would actually do something with that house from the owner. Before it ever gets to that point, they would communicate with the owner and seek many different steps of remedies, including fines. Anyone is interested, and I'm sorry, I'm going on a little bit long. There's so many tentacles on this thing. It was a little mind-boggling. If you look up the house on the SDCI website, you can see a bunch of information and reports that have previously been filed when it was originally kind of deemed an abandoned house about maybe 4-ish years ago. So
yeah, March 2017 was their first interaction with SDCI.
Oh, and there's one more thing I have pending. I almost forgot. The police precinct also has something called an abandoned house program. And they will routinely kind of keep an eye on the house and pass by it and make sure nobody is trespassing, pretty much trespassing, living there, doing all the kinds of things like that. So,
Carol, a quickly question. Did you get a sense, because this house has been deemed abandoned since, as Ann said, 2017, and eventually this can get flagged as a nuisance house? I mean, we're going on how many years now? So like at what point, what needs to happen? Does it need to be a whole bunch of complaints in a very short period of time? Is that the deal?
No, I think it's an ongoing record. What it sounded like to me was an ongoing record of complaints and the owner not paying attention to it. I got the sense from the lieutenant, whose name escapes me, but if anyone's interested, I could sort it out, that we're not there yet. We're nowhere kind of near there, which is why he counseled to report it. If you walk by and you see folks there, call that sucker in.
Okay.
Whatever's convenient to find it, fix it like you did. The report, which I'm going to check with Nancy Ann to see if she wants to actually have that distributed around. It was unclear to me in the NPAC meeting that I attended if that was actually what they want. There's a couple things in flux with the precinct, as everyone knows, with the city and policing. Things have kind of shuffled and moved around. There was a community group that has been disbanded, so they've got this form to report issues directly to one of the precinct council reps.
I would
Do you
say,
know what violations are? What kind of violations are they?
You can see the reports directly on the SDCI site. I don't remember offhand, but there are things like squatters living there, trash, debris,
overgrown vegetation. Yeah.
and I think it's important to note that the owners don't seem to have a problem just accepting and paying the fines. They've always paid them. And the history on SDCI's website shows that. So I think that's another reason why we really want to see something done with the house, to really heed the advice of just trying to get in these complaints, because right now it seems like they're very content to just paying their $540 every time a complaint comes through.
It's odd. I've got to be honest. I think it's
Very.
really odd. I've tried to rack my brain to think out what are they doing with it, but again, that's out of scope and not my business, just being nosy. So.
Yeah, I mean, I almost wonder if they're just waiting for a developer to come in and make an offer.
I would speculate that, especially if the house is paid off, it's just an appreciating asset. It's like, you know, if every year it's worth more, so why sell it now? Why not wait? I mean, they're sitting on it and every year it goes up. So as long, you know, they're paying the fine, just the cost of doing business. I'm speculating, but that would be why you would just have an empty house, because it's going to be worth more next year and worth more the year after that. It's zoned single family, so that you won't see, excuse me, neighborhood residential. That's the correct term. But it's, you know, the zoning there does not allow for a, you know, any sort of multifamily development, but as a piece of property, it's going up.
It's weird though, because I'm guessing that, and I know what you say is absolutely correct, but with the house being completely unused for years, like the pipes must be destroyed, you know, the water, all the wires and stuff. I can't imagine it's actually worth much, except to your point,
It's
probably it's the land.
Yeah, it's a tear down. It's a tear down. The property is, I mean, the house itself is worth next to nothing. The property is worth more, and it's just going up every year. So yeah. The house would not be salvaged. It would be torn down, and doesn't matter. The property is worth way more than the house.
No. And the reason this came up, we had a community member complain to us that they were walking by, they get torn up by the blackberries that are always there. There's always trash there. I think we heard there was a fire, like somebody that was squatting there had lit a fire in the backyard. We don't know if anybody's actually in the house, but they're definitely living in the backyard. So that's how it came to our attention.
To your point, Anne, the lieutenant said he said the house was securely boarded still. So maybe they've just kind of using the backyard.
Okay. So let me go through. So Amber, did you get any response to your police report request yet?
You know, that's a good question. I feel like I had filed several find it, fix it things, and I got multiple responses to some of them. I would have to go back and see if I did on this one particular one. Let me dig around and I'll tell you. Give me a minute.
Okay. Because what we found out was when you look into the records from the SDCI, it really is just what's going on with the house. It's not, they don't look for people doing illegal things there. So that's why Amber was looking for the police report. Like Carol said, she raised this issue with NPAC and is working the paperwork that way. I drafted a letter to the homeowner. I'm going to ask the safety committee to look at it. It's really softball. I mean, it really is just, hey, concerned about the property, can we start a dialogue? It's not accusatory at all, just trying to talk. And then I've also drafted a letter to the nearby residents just to see if they have any information. Do they have concerns? Do they know the people that own the house? Whatever. And then I reached out to the mosque thinking they might have some input, and I haven't heard anything back yet. So anything else with the house? Oh, I see what you're saying in chat, John. That's a 59,000. Good gracious. Yeah, that's a gold mine. Okay, then I'm going to keep us moving. So bunch of projects in motion. I'm going to do a lot of talk in this first meeting, but I want to hear from you guys too. So the bylaws is number one. So after this meeting, I'm going to send out a copy of the bylaws, the way they were written and adopted in 2013. And then the working copy that Brad and Ryan and Ben and myself have all played with. I've tried to distribute the work out really well so that it doesn't fall as hard on one person. You know, having done it for 5 years. Oh, interesting. Having been president for 5 years, it's quite a bit for one person. So try to divvy the jobs out, especially with such a lovely large board of trustees. And so I'd like for you to look at the two copies. You don't have to compare the old copy with the new one if you don't want, but if you want to know the history, it might be helpful. So I'll send out both of those, and I'd like for everybody to take a look at them, see what you think. Once the board of trustees gets to a solid place with them, then we would put them out to the community for them to eyeball them and vote on them. So that's coming. Any questions about the bylaws?
Do you have like a an overview of like what the goal of the updated, like, is there like we want to add more chairs, we want to change what the chairs do, like what is the focus?
Yeah, it'll make sense once you see it. Basically, the mission of this organization is to create a forum so our community can talk to one another. And then everything else we do above and beyond is gravy, like having a safety committee or a disaster prep committee or a social committee. And then there's pretty specific guidance, especially for the officers. It was easier to write for the officers. But there is a paragraph in there about the trustees, not what each individual safety committee wants to do, because you guys can make that up, or what every committee wants to do, but some general guidance. All right, so I'm going to keep going. Like I said, more discussion on the bylaws. Food trucks. So this is something lovely that Ben put together for us before he left. So instead of food truck lunch, we're having food truck dinner every night, 2 trucks each night. Occasionally there's 3. The third one is like drinks or I don't know, dessert or something, like donuts. I think it's coming one week. So 17 weeks, a really long period of time. I'm thinking about closing down the street, and this is what I'd like to hear from you guys. You know, lunch was good. People grabbed lunch. Most people just took it back to their house and ate because, you know, everybody was working from home. But since it's a dinner thing and it's Friday night, I think it's a fabulous chance to get people to sit down and hang out and you know, mill about. So this is, can y'all see the screen? This is where the trucks were last year. So they're parked in the parking lot outside of the preschool. This little dot right here is the preschool. So in the past, in the summers, we have closed down this street to have our potluck. And this is a lovely street because it's shaded. So when it's super hot out, this is a great street. So that's certainly an option. Another option I thought about is this street right here, and frankly, just block the whole thing off from down there at 105th all the way up to 106th. And the reason I would opt for this one, it's very selfish. A, there's more room, but B, I have all the tables and the chairs and the speaker system, and it's just easier for me to put, you know, to put it out here instead of lugging it over there. Either one's okay. And we can certainly switch. This isn't an all or nothing, you know, we can do it on 19th Avenue while it's still cooler, but then in the total heat of the summer, we can switch to the shadier side. And it's, the whole street isn't shady. It's just kind of right there by the preschool. It seems to be a bit cooler. So initial thoughts about closing down a street every week, putting out tables, chairs, having music, inviting people to just hang out and have dinner. Josh, I see your question. Would we have trucks line up on 19? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, is because we had a food truck during Winterfest, and there's just tons of room here. So 2, even 3 trucks, I think would be easy to manage, and still have plenty of room for people. And I don't remember the truck, any of the trucks we've had being that loud. But we could easily, you know, stick a truck down at the end of the street and have people in the middle.
I'm thinking about traffic diversion. You know, when you closed that for Winterfest, it was 4 o'clock on a Sunday. Whereas you're doing this right during rush hour. And I think fewer people probably are using 106th rather than 19th.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's going to inconvenience more people is what you're saying.
If you close 19th, because that's going to push traffic into weird places it doesn't normally go.
Yeah, I mean, they can get where they need to go. It's definitely going to slow them down.
There's not a lot of traffic we've seen, even around rush hour. I don't know what you have noticed, Anne.
Not that much, yeah. And you
more,
know,
I was going to say there's more pedestrians that are coming by, and I think that would be a bonus to shut it down, because Friday, you know, that's kind of a busy time. I think like right after work is a busy time for a lot of the walkers and this is a really busy street for a lot of the walkers and people with another selfish reason, obviously, is that I'm right next to Anne. And I think that right on 19th, it gives, because there's a lot of people, particularly people with dogs, that want field access, that access that field. And so it would give them field access if they, are bringing their dog to the field and want to grab a bite, whatever.
Are we going to run into any resistance from the city of trying to shut down a street, as Ryan
No,
says?
They are
Okay.
encouraged.
Okay.
They are
All right.
encouraging play streets.
Great.
It does a lot of things. It's good for the community, and it also diverts traffic. People go, oh God, every time I try driving through there, I get rerouted. In fact, the traffic guy suggested we just do random play streets throughout the neighborhood just to really screw with people, driving through Victory Heights to get from one place to another. And eventually they just get frustrated and they stay away.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are actually doing that, but another thing is that they're not really going to, completely prevent cars from going on the street. They're not going to put up Jersey barriers and such. So people who really are determined to drive on the street would be able to drive on the street, I assume.
No, not unless you live there.
With
Who's going to enforce that though?
She's got
Unless they-
barricades.
Yeah, unless they get out and move the barricade. They're not heavy. They could certainly move them, but I don't think people would be okay with that.
I think there's two different programs potentially. One is the Play Street, which is maybe you could pick every Thursday or something like that, where you close off the street. And there is the random car that does go down there because they live there, because we have one right next to us. But then there's the other one that you see now. I think it's Safer Streets. And they're just kind of permanently closed to limit traffic. I don't know if that's its real project name, the real program name, but it just closed, and they're doing it in Capitol Hill, Wallingford. I've seen it here down by Lake City, around the library area. You can go down there, but it kind of makes you stop and go slower, because hey, there may be kids or dogs, people or whatever hanging out.
Yeah, the Safer Streets program, I think, is for the commercial district, where they are trying to allow us to take up more space, especially, kind of kicked it off hard during COVID. But this would just be a play street. And you put in an application. It's super simple. I do it, every time we close down the street for something.
I love this idea.
I think it's super fun. The two things I would say is let's not worry about committing to do this. Let's try it out, see how it goes, and we can always kind of flex from there. The other thing would be making sure that we have a list, so that it's not always you bringing out the chairs and tables. So if we can, have a sign up list and people are responsible for that, I think divvying up that responsibility would also be important.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. I was definitely going to head down that path. Okay, so any more thoughts about
worst case scenario, we can put tables and chairs in the park, right? Or is there anything that prohibits doing that?
That's actually a little trickier, I think.
Okay.
Because we're on park property, we're still kind of researching
permission or permit to have an event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually much easier just to stay up on the streets.
Interesting. Okay.
Tony, were you going to say something?
I've talked to.
No.
Okay. Go ahead, Dan.
I've talked to some people in the neighborhood that spend many Friday evenings there. And, they're all excited about the food trucks, and maybe not quite as excited about how many more people are going to be there. But, they really are excited about it. It's just kind of a joke, but everybody's willing to take their own chairs and blankets and things like that, right? And there's nothing that prohibits people from enjoying the park on their own, right? So I think we'll see some of that regardless as well. People just in the grass on a nice day having a picnic dinner.
Yeah. I just think it's got great potential for bringing the community together. Okay, anything else with Food Truck Fridays? Okay, we're gonna keep going. Signage. So because our meetings moved from Tuesday nights to Monday nights, the signs that we have, they're yard signs, aren't applicable. And frankly, they're not in very good shape. We've lost quite a few because, you know, we bought these.
You still have the dry erase ones, you know.
Yeah. How many do you have, Ryan?
4?
Okay. So Ryan's talking about sandwich boards. We have those too. So if anybody wants to work on signage, please raise your hand. I don't, this isn't really a conversation for the whole group because it's just too big, but would love to work with someone. We have a logo I can live with, the raccoon. So I need somebody to help with signage. And mostly it's just helping talk me through it. So it's not just Anne's head.
I could probably help with some design there if you want.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Excellent. Okay. The other thing I'd like to figure out how to do, and if anybody has ideas for this, please speak up. I think one big sign that we put up every, before every monthly meeting in the park somewhere would be helpful. Something big enough that you see as you drive by or if you're in the park. But a lot of times those little bitty signs, the little yard signs, don't really get much attraction. So, I'm thinking about like a banner that we put up on the tennis court or something. I don't know. Just if anybody's got ideas, happy to hear them. All right. So a welcome video. So we have a welcome aboard packet. It was designed a while ago. It's very old fashioned, and it is in print. Yeah, Ryan's got one right there. It's kind of hard to see with his background making everything disappear, but it's like 14 pages front and back, 28 different, basically 3x5 cards that are in there. And it's all different information, our elected representatives, how you vote, fire truck, police, disaster prep, libraries, preschool, the community council, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, what I thought about doing is instead of printing this up and having somebody deliver it to a new neighbor, is put this into a video format, put it on YouTube, and then just hand the person a QR code so they can watch it when they want. And I was thinking, do I have that on the slide? Yeah, a business card. So instead of going over with this packet, you got a new neighbor to the neighborhood. Instead of going over the packet, you go over with a piece of paper or a business card with information about the council, and on the back of it, your name and phone number, or your name and email, whatever it is you want to give them, and a plate of brownies, that kind of thing. So we're not killing trees in order to pass this information along, but we have it out there, and it would be super easy to update.
That's right. We were gonna, I think, was it Amber and I? Somebody and I were gonna walk around and give them fresh cookies with the welcome thing, and then COVID hit, and we're like, knocking on strangers' doors kind of went out the window.
Yeah. Sheila was doing it. Sheila's done it for quite a few neighbors in the community, but we don't want Sheila just to do it. We want whoever's the neighbor, we really want to encourage them to walk over. So maybe if we put a 3x5 card or a business card in their hand, maybe they'll be more likely to do that. So if anybody
also got a letter from Carolyn and Brian, but it was just like a single page front and back, and it linked to the blog. Is that like a separate competing welcome packet?
Yeah,
maybe?
I don't know anything about it. Who are these people?
They're like 2 houses down from us. And yeah, they a welcome to the neighborhood where they linked to your blog, Ryan, and had some other info. So I didn't know if that was official thing or.
First I'm hearing of it. That's amazing.
Okay. I'll maybe connect you and
yeah.
then.
Please. Yeah, I'd love to see the letter and steal ideas from it and thank them for doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
On them. Okay, so if anybody wants to turn this into a video, it would not take much work. Or if you want to just start over from scratch and don't even use these goofy cards I have, that'd be great too. I'm going to keep going. A traffic study. So this is kind of back into the realm of the safety committee again. I'm gonna pause here. I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see somebody else. Amber, does anybody remember what Ben said about this traffic study? I'm looking to you,
I
Amber.
think he said something about matching funds with the city.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. It's and we don't match it with like physical dollars. We match it with basically like community work.
Was
you
it $5,000 or
I
This was
feel
to
like
hire a consultant.
yeah, that
who
right.
would just
to do
study
traffic
it.
Study, right.
But,
To do
You know, all he would do is write a report. It wouldn't, you know, he can't make anything happen.
right?
He's this private
Right, but
person. And then,
that's what you do first. And then when you go to the city to make your argument, you can show like we've done our due diligence and here we brought somebody in to take a look and we really do have a case of, you know, high
well,
speed cars, excessive traffic, whatever the case is.
yeah,
Right before right before we had that last meeting with Ben, I coincidentally had sent an email to or report request to the city asking about a traffic speed bump for my street because I'm right off Northgate. They sent me a letter that I can see how I can post it out to everyone. It's like, oh my God, a laundry list. It's not simple.
you have to have a lot of accidents, serious
Yeah.
accidents, in order for them to do that. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through. They're not just going to start throwing up traffic circles and speed bumps wherever.
You know,
Right.
12th Avenue Northeast has done it. Let's see, 12th Northeast around 90th. And
Yeah, they
then
did a
in-
serious thing on Maple Leaf, basically in conjunction with the light rail station coming
Yes,
in.
yes,
They made a
that's all.
deliberate effort to redirect traffic.
That is an officially designated greenway because of the light rail. So that's a whole separate process.
Special process. Yeah.
That's not going to be applicable, I don't think, highly unlikely in our area.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think one of my main questions was, do we have to know how much the study cost before we apply for matching funds to go forward with it?
That was something that Ben flagged also. I'm trying to remember because it was one of those like chicken and egg things, right? Like, okay, we're supposed to apply
Yeah.
for this, but we need to know how much, but we don't know how much until they come out, but they can't come out until we've applied.
I mean, they won't
I
give you a
have
free
this,
quote.
I have this, guys, from the DOT. It says, basically, it's the first thing is like, yeah, we know. But then it goes, we suggest applying for Neighborhood Matching Fund, NMF. The NMF program provides matching dollars for neighborhood organizing or projects that are developed and implemented by community members. Core to the fund is the community match, which requires awardees to match their award with contributions from the community, such as volunteer time, donated materials, donated professional services, or cash. And then it goes, there are two funds. I don't want to bore everyone, but there's a bunch. They went through it all. I'm happy to send this out. Should I use an email alias, Anne, or what's the best?
Send it to me and I'll get it out to everybody.
This is what that
Yeah.
presenter was supposed to kind of hone in on, but she didn't come fully prepared for it.
And this is what
Yeah.
you basically did to pay for all those plants in the
Yeah.
thing. And we've been at volunteer hours. And believe it or not, if you have 12 people at a community council meeting for an hour, that counts as 12 hours of volunteer hours.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's
At
not,
$30 an hour.
yeah. So it's doable. We've done it in the past. It's just whether we really want to spend money on this or not to tell us, well, you're not really eligible.
Well, my understanding is they don't just tell you whether or not you can put in speed bumps. They give you ideas of if you, I don't know. I think we're going to get more than just you don't qualify for speed bumps.
Right.
It's a holistic process, and they look at the whole community, not just the problem intersections.
Right. And I mean, I know that I sit in a unique situation in that I am on this specific corner that was flagged. I would be just dumbfounded if they came back and said, oh no, there's not a single issue on that corner. There's no speeders, there's no excessive traffic, because I watch it every day. So, you know, I hear the concern about the money and all of that, but like what I would really hate to see is the community to just be like, just walk away from it because there's an assumption that we're not going to get what we think we're looking for. I mean, we don't know what they're going to say, right? So if we're able to apply to the city to get something to match, and all we have to do is put in a little bit of man hours, and 12 hours exists right here, then what, you know, no harm, no foul, right?
Yep. That's my thinking. I would like to see the study done, because we're just not going to know if there's anything we can do until we get an expert out to study, you know, like I said, the entire neighborhood. I have a what I think is a good feasible idea for a neighborhood matching fund. If I can, John and Amber and Carol too, if you want, but I'm thinking safety and beautification. It's kind of, and maybe even who's our conservation, Dan or Sam? Sam. Maybe you two, if you guys want to stay online, we can talk about it after the meeting. Okay, getting a couple shaking heads. Okay, good, Sam's in. Okay, then I'm going to keep going. Oh, I forgot I put this in here. So this is my idea, is to clean up Northgate Way using man hours from the community to pay for our study. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to keep going. Insurance. So do we need it for events in the park? Brad, I put this in the I put this in the job description for the treasurer to figure this out and to maintain it if we do need it. So the questions are, do we need it? If we do anything in the park, do we need insurance?
Did you
And
slide, did you change the slides, Ann? Ann, did you change the slide?
Oh, I'm sorry. I stopped sharing and I hadn't shared again. Okay, let me back up. So this is the slide I was talking about that you guys couldn't see. So cleaning up Northgate Way, picking up trash, chopping down blackberries. There's all kinds of just piles of leaves here that really narrow the sidewalk and make it much more treacherous for anybody that has any kind of ambulation issues, wheelchairs and such.
Quick question.
How do these? Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead, Amber.
Sorry. Last year, I believe it was, is when we did the Help a Neighbor program or whatever it was. Do you know if those hours were applied for anything, and could we like retroactively apply them?
No, in fact, the way the neighborhood matching funds work is you can't even start counting hours until your grant has been approved. So even the time that we're spending here doesn't work, but it's okay, man. You can rack up hours with these projects.
Sure.
I'm like, I'm on a 5th grant or something like this. I think they're super easy to manage.
Okay.
And then somebody else had a question.
No, Amber and I were thinking alike on that. I was gonna ask a similar question about that all that work that happened last year on 106th.
Yep. Okay. Great thinking, guys. Okay. So insurance, do we need it for events in the park? Do we need it for largish events in the streets, like, you know, Food Truck Fridays? Where can we get it? We have some sources that we could try. What does it cost? Does it protect the you know, the 10 of us, 11 of us, 12 of us here? Does it protect the city? Does it protect both parties? That I don't know. Brad, I will get with you later on individually, and maybe I can make sure I share the resources that Ben gave me to see if you can find some answers there.
Okay, yeah, I've been doing this long enough to know that insurance is always a big problem, and it's extremely expensive and would wipe out our funds rapidly. So,
Okay.
but
And,
you know,
and the
but I'm
first
happy to
question
talk-
is, do we need it?
Well, yeah, we can talk, Ann. I'm happy
Okay.
to talk and see what you'll see. You know, I'll figure it out. I mean, the question is cost versus risk. What is, as you say, you know, are we? It's who's liable, right? I mean, you know, are any of us personally liable? Unlikely, but yeah, I'm happy to talk with you, Ann.
Okay, great. And then the slide up here is Teen Feed. Amber mentioned it earlier. Just wanted to make sure everybody's aware that it goes on every month. We are currently the second Monday of each month. So that goes on monthly.
Yep, and a new sign up with a new menu should be going out as soon as I hear back from them.
Fabulous. Okay. And then I just wanted to make people aware that we have a couple different emails going around. This is the official one, the top one, victoryheights.seattle@gmail. And then Teen Feed has its own email address, as well as the Emergency Communication Hub. So if any of your committees, if you don't want to give out your personal email, feel free to make up an email. Something along those lines would be helpful, just so we can keep track of it. And then if you get off of whatever committee you're on, then you can pass the email along and you're not having to start over. Events. So next Monday's meeting is the Kraken. They're coming to talk. And then Build Lake City Together, and possibly a redistricting person from the redistricting committee might be coming, and I might actually bump Build Lake City Together, because I think the redistricting is a
And
little
that's
more
redistricting. That's redistricting of the Seattle City Council.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
That's not. That's
It's
not the
kind of a-
state. That's not the state redistricting. That's the
No,
city.
no, it's much more local than that. And then Ron Dombrowski is on the schedule again. Again, I might cancel him. The Thornton Creek, someone is working with Thornton Creek Alliance and has a grant that wants to talk to us. And I shared that with the Conservation Committee. And I'm sorry, I'm still learning who's doing what. It's either Sam or Dan. I think it's Sam. Did you see an email from me, Sam? You're muted.
I did,
now.
yes, yes.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. So I might get her to talk in May, and then we don't have anybody for June, just FYI.
I saw the
And then-
Kraken guy earlier this month. He came to the Lake City Neighborhood Alliance meeting and gave a presentation. So it's mostly going to be about what they're doing at the Iceplex, and you know, it's Kraken PR stuff, but it'll be of interest.
Okay.
And
And I
is your
told him
thing-
20 minutes.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah, tell him 20, he'll take 25 or 30, and we'll give him the hook.
And are you still doing that virtual meeting tomorrow?
Hub 101?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, excellent. I'm glad you brought that up and you're thinking about it, Ryan.
I happened to find it on an email, and I was like, oh, March 17th. I guess that's the thing.
Yeah, cool. I'll talk about that in just a second. So April 30th, the Disaster Preparedness Committee, which is kind of me and two other people in the neighborhood, plus one that's outside of our neighborhood, but incredibly talented, works in the field. Anyway, we're doing an urban survival skills fair, which is really just like teaching people how to sanitize water and how much water you need to store. What do you do when all the water pipes are broken and your toilet doesn't work? So emergency toilets, how to turn off your gas, how to handle your electricity, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do that, as well as a hub drill. So I'll talk more about that later on. We've got a little time before then, but I am going to be looking for folks to help me in that. I cannot man all the tables and run the hub drill as well. So it'll be a bit of a cluster, but it's fun and people learn so much. So I would encourage you to put it on your calendar, and if you can help out, that would be great. If you can't help out, at least stop by. So May 6th, the food trucks start, and then just FYI for the social committee, Mother's Day and Father's Day is coming up. If you can think of anything fun to do with that. Moving forward, so I'd like to ask the group, can we come up with a time when most of us can meet? I'd like to meet at least once a month, definitely not more than that, but if we could get together once a month, that would be great. And then I'll just kind of reach out to different committees outside of those times. But do Monday nights work for most folks? Okay, kind of getting a thumbs up.
Except in the fall. For me, except in the fall.
Okay. So let's shoot for them. So the community meetings are the third Monday of every month. So let's shoot for the first Monday. And I will send out invitations for that. And we'll see how many folks can make it on a regular basis. Okay. That was easy. So if you're having committee meetings, feel free to include me. It's the only way I can keep up to date with what's going on. If I can make it, I will. If I can't, I'll just reach back and keep myself up to speed later. Homework for the group here. Read through the bylaws, come back with questions or concerns. That's it. Cool. Anything else on your guys' minds? That was a lot of me talking.
And I have a quick question. For the safety committee, because it could potentially teeter into some sensitive situations. I mean, the abandoned house is not super sensitive, but when we're dealing with like a complaint from someone in the neighborhood seeking us out for help, how do you want us to handle that? Because in all up, we're coming forward as a representation of the community council. But I understand that you're not here to like micromanage us either, but you know, like how involved do you want to be? Do you want us to take it to like any kind of a broader group, or do you want us to just like go rogue and handle it and then fill you in later? What is the best way about handling that kind of stuff?
You know, Amber, I think as long as you just CC me, I'm comfortable with you guys just taking the lead.
Okay.
If I see anything that scares me, which I don't, there's nothing that's going to scare me that isn't going to scare you. And I say that because I know you, Amber.
Right.
A lot of the other folks on the screen, I don't know as well, but so as long as you're being a reasonable adult, I have no problem with letting you go forward and, you know, conquer, and just CC me. And if I see anything that scares me or anything, you know, I want to throw to the officers or whatever for a second look, I'll step in.
Okay. Sounds good.
Same thing for all you guys. You know, we're all intelligent adults. Just keep me informed and yell if you need anything. Otherwise, go forth and conquer. What else, guys? For the social committee, would love to meet with you and just chat about different ideas. I thought the food truck Friday was kind of a no-brainer. But anything
I
else?
saw the emails about a potential like movie night in the park as well. And so understand, you know, looking at and I'll try to do some research too on what's required to do that as far as copyright. But I believe that as long as you're not charging money, can kind of watch a movie. So I know the city park that I used to lifeguard at, they did that many times, you know, just show a movie in the pool at night a couple times this summer. So, but yeah, I'll do some research on that. And yeah, I think that's a pretty cool idea, and talk to some people at the park that agree with that. So yeah.
Cool. I looked around just to see who was doing like movies in the park, and I haven't found anything recently like Seattle neighborhoods. And it could be that it was COVID. It could be that it's just too early in 2022 to even be thinking about it, but I didn't find many. I reached out to Ballard and just sent them kind of like they have like a form letter you can fill out. So I'll pass on anything I hear.
The closest I know is that Hunter Tree Farm used to do them every summer. So it'd be interesting to find out what their licensing deal was, whether they could just show anything they wanted or whether they're having to pay for it. Obviously, it was their own property, so they could do what they wanted.
Yeah, and this is where the insurance comes in. something this formal or whatever. I think the Parks Department is going to want to have insurance, is my guess. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing I'm a semi-intelligent adult. Yeah, electricity is kind of difficult over in Hunter Farms. I'm sorry, in the park, just because of electricity.
We don't have access to just running an extension cord into the preschool.
It's a little tricky because the preschool shuts down in the summer. Our ability to access the building gets much more difficult. It's not impossible, but it is definitely more difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a couple ideas for that. I know Mark, who lives right on the park, and Scott as well is also right on the park.
Yeah.
I'm sure either one of them wouldn't mind. Plus, I'm working on a little project in my garage here to have an inverter with my power tool batteries. So as like a little emergency backup power for some stuff in our house if the power goes out. But yeah, so I think there's a few options there. I don't see that as the biggest hurdle to overcome in this for sure.
Yeah, it's really just permission to do it, and the street's an idea too. If we have hurdles being in the park, then maybe we close down a street and show a movie there.
I mean, I showed a bunch of movies on my garage for Halloween.
Private
people
property
in my driveway.
Private property.
Yeah,
different.
exactly.
Yeah.
Another challenge to think about with movie nights in the summer, of course, is it doesn't get dark until pretty late at night. Even in the early part of the summer, it's not going to get dark enough to really do much until 8:30, and then by the time you show a 2-hour movie, you're kicking it pretty late.
Yeah, the idea was maybe August and September, to do one August, one September, something like that, where it wouldn't be too late for it to be dark. But yeah.
And now, are we taking an official stance as a community to send to Washington about daylight savings and the 9 a.m. sunrises?
We're not taking any officials. We're not taking any official stances on anything.
What's your stand, Sam?
We don't take official stances.
I honestly don't. I don't think about it too much. I'm not a morning person, so it's kind of okay by me. But yeah,
it's an interesting thing going on.
I saw a graphic this morning that made me double take, where I was like, January 1st, our sunrises will be 9 a.m. And that was, wow. Yeah.
Simple math. It's simple math.
Yeah.
Add an hour. It's not difficult math.
People don't like touching their clocks, it seems. Really a thorny issue for a lot of folks.
We could talk about this for an hour.
I think we're digressing. Amber put something on in the chat that says you cannot show a movie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Regardless of whether admission is charged or not. So I don't know
whether we have to abide by those rules. I mean,
you can. You just have to get a license, and that is from a licensing website. So I mean, Dan, I can drop it over to you. Yeah, I just would hesitate if we're going to be doing it in a public park and advertising.
Yeah.
You gotta be smart about it.
This is a little too visible to slide under the radar, I think.
I wonder if there's anything kind of like they do with songs with public domain, or if
there are public domain movies,
but they're not made in the last 30 years.
Nope.
Too old for anyone to be interested. Okay.
Well, I was going to ask the same question about music. I mean, if I'm strumming my guitar in the park and I'm singing a Beatles song, am I going to get sued by someone? But if I step out onto the street, I'm okay. Like
it's ridiculous. Yeah, you're right, Sam. No one's going to enforce that. Apple Records isn't going to stop by it. Yeah, I mean, it's No,
the rules are different for music actually, because as long as you're like just covering the song and you're not like spinning off and doing something different. If you're performing their song as it was written, there's no licensing required. I did look into the what Amber said, and it looks like getting a license to show a movie publicly is pretty easy. Just requires a simple email. There may be a nominal fee. Yeah. So I'll do a little bit more looking into it, but it does sound pretty easy.
I think it's just reaching out to the motion picture company that holds the license for the movie.
Exactly.
So some legwork, but not that much money. Excellent. Okay. So let me wrap up. I'm gonna talk to Josh about signage. Josh, you're gonna get Carolyn and Brian to contact me. I'm gonna send out a reminder about first Monday meetings. Anybody else got any homework?
So we have our full everybody's invited meeting this coming Monday.
Yes, Monday,
And-
March
and then
21st.
Have we tested
The
the link?
next meeting would be April 4th.
Yes, that is correct. And Brad, they're a new link from my account, so they should work. I can't imagine they won't.
Awesome. We've had some issues with the links. Had some issues with the links, so good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ann.
Any other, oh, by the ways. Okay, that was a little later than I was hoping, but that's okay. So if anybody wants to stay and talk about a potential neighborhood matching fund grant to get a traffic study done in our community and clean up Northgate or wherever you guys want to clean up, please stick around.
Thanks. Good talking to you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. So darn, I have taken pictures for 2 weeks now of Northgate, because on either side of the sidewalk, man, on either side of the street, the sidewalks are really narrow. I mean, they're wide sidewalks, but they're so narrow because everybody's plants have grown into it, or there's leaves that are just stuck there. And man, when it's wet there, it's so slippery. So my thought
Or there's
was,
thorns that grow in the summertime too. It's when I'm walking my dog, I agree. It's bad.
yeah, I looked at today. There's a website called Adopt a Street. Website. Yeah, it's a program called Adopt a Street here in Seattle. And there's actually someone who is responsible for Northgate from 15th Avenue all the way over to Lake City Way. His name is Otto, O-T-T-O, and his last name starts with a G. Never heard the name. Haven't ever seen anybody picking stuff up. So I'm not sure. I think it's fair to say it's not being done. So
you're talking about Northgate on both sides of the street?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would we be able to even cut away people's, you were saying that stuff gets overgrown. Why would we be able to just go in and start cutting
Yeah.
out?
I think if we're just clearing the sidewalk, I'm not talking about like taking down trees or anything like that.
No,
but if
I got you. But even bushes or blackberry, I mean, if someone says, no, I like to pick that, or whatever, you're gonna.
Yeah, it would take a little bit of coordination to go, hey, during this time frame, we're going to come through. Our plan is to come through your neighborhood or come through, outside your house, and we'd really like to clear the sidewalk, and this is why. Do you have any issues? Okay. So it would be kind of asking permission ahead of time, or maybe in that day, which I'm okay to coordinate that kind of stuff, sending out a letter, return receipt requested or whatever, and going, hey, give us permission to do this.
Okay.
And then keeping that on file. See.
Can I jump in just for a second? In terms of cleanup, interestingly, this may fall out of the official purview of Victory Heights. It might be Meadowbrook or Wedgwood or whatever, but just across, and I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but I walk my dog often over to Meadowbrook going, I don't even know what the name of the road is. Let me look it up so that's helpful. Right across from the Le Schwab and next to that liquor store, there's the road that kind of goes down.
Yeah, goes down by the tool library.
Yes, exactly. And right at the top there was an encampment that there were some folks living there, I want to say for maybe about 6 months, and it looked like there was a fire, something happened. And so I've been wondering about cleaning that up myself, because that's actually technically in the Thornton Creek watershed. And so who knows what's in there or whatever. It's also just kind of ugly. And I'm wondering if even that kind of stuff invites more of that kind of stuff back in. And so it's definitely something that would not be as attractive of a thing to rally the troops to do. But I didn't know if, if you knew anything about how we could organize that, or I mean, I can look into this, or if you've done this before is basically my question, or if you know how to kind of flag that. I'm fine putting a hazmat suit on and going in myself and kind of picking through it, but
yeah, Sam, my initial thoughts are do a find it, fix it.
Okay.
Because that does not sound like something that anybody that's not trained and frankly insured by the city ought to be clomping around in. I'd hate to see somebody get stuck. So yeah, definitely find it, fix it. Anybody on the call, if you're there, put a find it, fix it in, and they'll get it cleaned up. They're really pretty good about that. As long as there's not anybody there right now.
There's definitely no one there, and there definitely hasn't been anyone there for probably 2 months now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. I was going to show a screenshot. This is one of the many photos I've taken. So you can tell this is, half the sidewalk is taken over with this. So I don't think that kind of stuff we need to ask about. That's my guess. So that's kind of what I was thinking about, was trying to clear those sidewalks. And there's so much litter down by the Arco gas station. That thing is all right there, is always a mess. And that's where I'm thinking we ought to go to, is that Arco gas station, which is Roosevelt.
And Anne, sorry, I stepped out for a second to go to the restroom. You mentioned the program for the keeping the city street clean. I know that they will provide you all the stuff that you need and to clean up, and I think also for the disposal of it.
Yep, they do. They will pick up not only the trash that you gather, which I don't think it's going to be that much trash, but it's going to be a lot of yard waste.
Yeah.
But they will pick up the yard waste. You have to put it in the right kind of bags, whatever the heck that is, and they give you those little
claws
pincher things, which are great fun. They're not exactly efficient, but they're great fun. I could easily see this being like a kid-friendly event.
I was gonna say, Hudson has he's very incensed about the garbage on the streets, and he's gonna like adopt a street.
Yeah.
And God bless him. It's about the last thing I need added to my plate right now.
Yeah.
If it's a community thing, I can definitely get him involved.
Yeah. I think it would be very, not easy, but I think it's very, very doable.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
they
thinking,
they give you like reflector vests and all that stuff.
Yeah. So you do a sign up so that we can only, this is the time period and this is how many families we need, or you could say, we need six people on this block on this day, sign up and do it, that kind of stuff. There's lots of different ways to organize it.
Okay. So if we're going to do it, it sounds like we need to apply for the community matching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm assuming
I can on.
What was that?
I can take that on applying for it if someone knows the link or wants to just shoot me the link. I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Happy to send it to you, Sam. I think it's pretty intuitive. Some people really struggle with it, but I think it's pretty easy.
Set me up for failure here.
You're a smart guy. You'll be okay with it. One of the harder things is every person that comes to clean up, you have to get their name and at least their email address. And sometimes that's tough. But if they've all signed up online to, and picked an hour or 2 hours or whatever to work, then you've got all that information. So it's not so difficult to dump it into the grant. But actually, I think you have to actually type it, but that's okay.
And all of the equipment, and I'm assuming there might even be like, vests or something, traffic vests, we would get that equipment, or I would pick it up, or someone would grab it, and then we would move forward after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of would like to adopt a street. Like, I don't think you adopt a street one time. I think you adopt a street and it's yours until you, throw up your hands and say, I don't want it anymore. So I think Victory Heights ought to just adopt Northgate, where it goes through our community. It's obviously not getting taken care of, and it serves a good purpose. It gets our traffic study. So I don't think 5,000 hour or $5,000 is going to be hard at all. It's $5,000 divided by 30. I think I did this one time. Divided by $30 per hour. It's 166 hours. So it's, I think it's doable, but we'll see.
And we need those hours all in something volunteering towards the community. Sorry if I missed that earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and you get, Sam, you get 10 hours right off the bat just for writing the grant. That's $300 in our pockets.
All right.
So, the piece that I don't know, and maybe I'll just reach out to Ben and ask him, the piece I don't know is how do we know how much money we need? We think $5,000 for this traffic study, but it's kind of weird to put in a grant going, I think I need $5,000 and I don't even know who it goes to. Did anybody catch that from Ben? Like, is this a private company that does the traffic study, or are we paying?
Yeah, the city, I think, makes a couple of recommendations. I feel like he sent something out. I'm gonna dig through my email here.
The link I just sent to you guys, it's a 56-page PDF that the city sent, the DOT sent to me, and it's got this stuff in it about it's 5,000 to 25,000 on average, and it's got a lot of info like what we're looking for in it. Honestly, I haven't read it all yet at all, but I think the answer is in there. I put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Started.
It looks like that link has stuff on how to start the grant for the cleanup too and adopt a tree. So thank you.
Here's an email that Ben sent to a small group of people in December, and Anne, you were on this if you feel inclined to your email, but he says this is after that terrible presentation by SDOT. I'm going to just go ahead and say it.
Yeah. You're among friends.
The takeaway was here. I'm going to just read this little paragraph quickly. He says, in the medium term, the Victory Heights Community Council would support anyone pursuing a small grant, such as the up to $5,000 Small Sparks grant to fund a traffic study of Victory Heights. The first step in this would be contacting the Department of Neighborhoods to work to get a quote on what the study would cost so that we'd know how much grant money we need to pursue. While the intersection at 19th, 105th, and 20th was a focus of the conversation in December 6th special session, SDOT's data, May 2021's neighborhood survey, direct emails to BHCC, witnessing an aftermath, that there are numerous other locations that need attention throughout Victory Heights as well. Pursuing a holistic home zone approach via a community-wide traffic study would be in the best interest of the community as a whole. So I think, we can pursue those questions when we reach out to the Department of Neighborhoods to find out if we get a traffic study. Is it like a flat cost and they'll do our entire neighborhood? Is it they'll do 2 intersections, 5 intersections? It's a cost per intersection. Those are all questions that we just need to find out.
Okay. I will email the Department of Neighborhoods and ask them who's the point of contact and start getting some answers for that. That's helpful. I had no idea where to go even.
You want me
I
to
wouldn't have guessed DON.
Forward this email? I'll just send it to Victory Heights .seattle.gmail.
.seattle@gmail.
Okay. I will send that right now.
Okay.
I've got to jump off, but I will look into the grant for the cleanup stuff and I'll just get going on that, I guess, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And Sam, I've written a bunch of these. Please yell if I can help.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sam. Anybody else got anything? John, you've been super quiet.
I have. I've just been like, No, I'm certainly willing to jump in and help out on Northgate. I mean, I go on daily walks with my dog and been meaning to bring a bag of, a trash bag with me to start picking up stuff. But there's not really a lot in the neighborhood here, but that Northgate is where seems to be all the action's happening. So
yeah.
Happy to pitch in, and I'm happy to help organize if there's a need.
Cool. Okay. Amber or Carol, you guys got anything?
No, good stuff, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking, do we want to start thinking, or maybe it's too early, about the timing of cleanup? Like, would we want to do like a regular time of year, or do we want to think of weekends or something? Like, what would it look like? Like Ben's, maybe Blackberry cleanup, or?
Yeah, I'm thinking like 2 weekends in June, maybe. Hopefully we can get it done before it gets super hot. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Heather.
And well, it might have to be something that's like on a rotation, right? Because you're talking about differing things. I mean, the blackberries, you hack them back, they're going to be good for a little while, but then trash is going to always be an issue. So
Yeah.
maybe it's like blackberries twice a year and trash every, I don't know, 2 months or something. I have no idea. I guess we'll just have to see. Once we can actually see everything
Yeah.
in blackberries, we'll know how much garbage there is.
And I wonder if we don't clean it up and make it a big deal. John said, sorry to drop off. Our contractor has been playing with the electricity.
Oh.
So I wonder if once we get it cleaned up and we make it a big deal for the community, like, hey, look what we did, and everybody played along, then I think people will just kind of keep it clean on their own. You know, like John was saying, you know, if he remembers, he would take a bag with him on his walk. So we just need to kind of claim it as our own, clean it up really good one time. And I don't think maintenance will be much, but I do think in November, we're going to have to do a big cleanup of all the leaves, because that's a lot of what I'm seeing is the leaves are just, you know, stuck to the pavement and they're wet and slippery, and you know, they're 6 inches high.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is a great project. We try to stay off Northgate with the dogs because you're right, there's no room.
Yeah.
Same. Every now and then when the weather's nice, instead of driving to QFC, I'll put on a stroller and walk, and it's rather precarious for sure.
Yeah. So I think everybody would appreciate a nicer walk to QFC. Yeah.